So, just got finished watching the library episode of Seinfeld. So, episode 5 of season 3. This is definitely a step up from the last episode. I hesitate to call it good, but it had good moments. Just overall, it was just very mundane, I guess. But it had some good moments, I think. One of the primary being Philip Baker Hall in his role as the library cop bookman. So, what happens is that Jerry gets a call back from the library about an overdue book from like when he was in high school in 1971. And so he's kind of like looking for it because he could have swore he turned it in. And so Philip Baker Hall plays the library cop that's going out and getting the books, while at the same time Kramer's. This is mainly a Jerry story and somewhat a George. It's mainly a Jerry story. The other characters have their own things going on. Elaine is dealing with her boss having been unfavored towards her or just doesn't like her. George is dealing what happened is that Jerry and George's old gym teacher is now a hobo on the steps of the library. And so George recognizes him. And that kind of resolves it. I'll get back to that later. Kramer, on the other hand, starts dating the librarian. And so what happens is that kind of Jerry retraces his steps and goes back to ask this one old girlfriend where if he turned in the book. And it turns out he turned in another book, The Tropic of Capricorn, when he thought he turned in the Tropic of Cancer, which he actually went to George. And what happened was that George was being bullied by the gym teacher, Mr. Heyman. So Mr. Heyman, Mr. Heyman gave him a wedgie, and he got fired because that's illegal and pretty messed up. And so George gets that wedgie back in high school, and it ends up that homeless Heyman has the book, but they don't get that. Because what happens is that when George kind of is like, "Hey, Mr. Heyman, it's me, can't stand ya," because that's how the gym teacher pronounced his last name, mockingly. And so the gym teacher gives him an atomic wedgie. On the other hand, Kramer and Elaine's little plots are pretty much irrelevant. But yeah, it was good. I think the highlight of this was Philip Baker Hall because he turned in a really good performance because he was playing this like this Dragnet-esque cop who's just being a hard ass on Jerry, even though it's just a book. I think realizing this, I don't know. I'm thinking about libraries. And for me, libraries. I don't go to libraries anymore, which I probably should, but I'm the kind of guy where I pretty much I prefer owing whatever book I'm going to read. So I don't know. Even if I didn't like the book, I would still probably own it. So I don't. I've gone to libraries before, but I don't know. I think as in the current age, libraries are becoming more and more irrelevant, which it is actually kind of a sad thing because they are still a good source of knowledge. But I don't know. Where was I going? I went on a tangent. Yeah, Philip Baker Hall did a great job. I think one of the good jokes is that when George gets the wedgie, because we don't actually see it, but he kind of goes back. He tells a story about, hey, he met Mr. Heyman, and he's like, so I ran away, but something was holding on to me. It was Mr. Heyman, and he gave me a wedgie. And the best part, I think this is another one of the highlights of the episode is that Elaine goes, well, at least it was an atomic wedgie, which is they put the waistband to the head, an atomic wedgie. And then George pulls out the waistband and says, it was. Very good, very good. Yeah, it was. It had good moments. It was enjoyable to watch, but it wasn't. I said mundane. Even like mundane seems like it's that like a bit worse. It was I guess mediocre. I don't even want to say mediocre. It was decent. It was a decent episode. Like the plot was good. It progressed. Like I had no problems with the story or how it progressed. I mean, aside from Elaine's parts being irrelevant and just pointless. Ultimately pointless. Same with Kramer. Yeah, Kramer and Elaine had no point in this episode. But I mean, that's my only grief, plot and story wise. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Hey. Well, yeah, decent episode. Have a good night.